This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Renee Blokzyl of Red Orchid Travel. Renee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Love being here.
Yeah, yes, it is. The audience doesn't know. We've been trying to get you for a little while. I think at least of the little bit that I know of your story, it's very, very fascinating to me. And I know you've been in business for a long time. So I think this will be a very enlightening conversation that I think people will enjoy. Let's start off at the top with the basic, though. What is Red Orchid Travel? What do you do?
Red Orchid Travel is a full-service agency. And when I say that, a lot of people don't know what that means.
I don't.
That just means simply whatever you want for travel, I can provide, from obviously flights, cruises, all-inclusive vacations, custom itineraries. But the biggest thing that people don't know is I have exclusive partnerships with both Forbes Travel and Virtuoso. So I have luxury travel suppliers around the world. I can get you a private jet. I can get you a helicopter or a yacht. People don't know those things. How about just a car rental or railroads around the world? I can do that for you. I can get you dining reservations at great places and tickets to concerts. So there's a whole other facet other than just people thinking, oh, I do travel. No, I do a lot of things. So how's that?
Amazing. And we're very happy to have you on the show today. A lot of the audience, probably most of them, know that we're a marketing company. And what is marketing? It's simply the messaging that comes from your business to your ideal audience in the way you want it to. A brand is being built with or without your control. That means I'm going to perceive your company, if I've heard about it, in my own way. Best thing to do is to take control of that and control the narrative. So when you say people are unaware of that, we're very happy to have you on the show to let people know about that. And then in addition to that, my question that comes up into my head when you say that, as I imagine the audience thinks the same thing. So I have a special someone, let's say, and it's a milestone, something important. And I just say to you, Renee, listen, I know my strengths and weaknesses in life, and traveling is a weakness. I don't do the flights. I don't plan the things. I'm not good at that. Don't give me that. And it's a surprise for her. So I want to go away for 2 weeks to Europe. Here's my budget. Here's what I need you to know about her and me. Do the rest. I'm not even picking the places in Europe. Is that something you can do? Like I'm talking, there will be dinners in that, like you will customize a thing for us, send it back to me, and I'll be like, yep, that's perfect, done, plan it, and I will pay for it and enjoy it.
Well, there's a little bit more involved with that.
Okay.
So I work remotely and I do a lot virtually. So I always ask for someone who is looking for some big milestone event and dreaming of a special experiential outcome to make an appointment with me. And we meet over Zoom usually, or in person. Zoom is not gone yet. Mm-hmm. Some of my clients really love it because they can meet me where they're at. I can see their face. I can share my screen. And then we'll zero down some of those likes and dislikes and get into a connected space where we work together as partners and get you going where you want to go and get all those experiences that you want to have. But there is a conversation that needs to take place because it's not just about a budget necessarily as well. It's about something very special, obviously. Milestones are to be celebrated. If we learned something in 2020, milestones were put on the back burner, and it's time to get going and ensure that every little milestone is celebrated, no matter what it is. So it takes a little bit of planning to do that. And I'm happy to plan, research, and do all the behind the scenes and weave some magic, curate some great itinerary and all the rest, and then meet up with you again. And I guess just let you see what I've done and see if you agree. And we go from there.
So really, though, very little work on my behalf. I show up on video. I tell you what I like, what I don't like. You work your magic. A lot of things happen behind the scene. We connect again a few weeks later. You say, this is what I built. I say yes or no. We tweak. And that's the only responsibility essentially I have, is paying the bill and making sure you know enough about me and my person or whatever I'm doing to make it special.
Yeah. So my tagline is the art of indulgence. And what I mean by that is that why not indulge in something special? Let's curate it. And the other thing I always say is let's get some seamless, dreamy travel going for you. So all you have to do is pack. And I've even been known to help people pack their bags properly. I played a lot of Tetris, so I can do that.
Yeah. For me, in my life, Renee, I cannot tell you how there's more businesses that are doing more like yourself now than I've ever seen before. As long as I've been in business, 20 something years, these experiences that are like, we have 2 boxes inside our company that we make available to the user, to the client. We have done for you, and then we have done with you. And typically I find when it's done for you entirely, the results are a little bit lower than done with you, because that means we get less information from you. You're less involved. Your vision is not quite as accurate as if I had done with you. But even the done with you, we basically, like you just said, need a little bit more information, just a little bit more engagement, but still very low effort. And so we let people know that you want it done for you entirely. This is what you can expect, hands off. You won't even know about it, but it won't produce what done with you will. Either way, though, when I am the client of that experience, the amount of stress from doing it on my own to doing it with somebody plummets down to almost non-existing, which at this stage in my life, no kids, it's pretty much just business, health, and my interests. And I'm fine with that at this chapter in my life. The reduction in stress probably is my highest priority, because health is my highest priority. And that's in that box, probably at the center core of it. I think stress dictates so much of what we go through through our human experience. So if someone can reduce my stress, even for 10, 15, 20, 30% more in money, I can make more of that. I will forever be affected by the stress that runs through my body physiologically. I can't remove the stress that happened to me yesterday. I can only make the most of what I have today. So every unit of stress that comes into me, I think affects me for the most part in a negative way. Some stress is good, of course, but if I'm selling my house, or if I'm trying to figure out my roof or my HVAC or travel or things like that, and somebody has an offer like yours that reduces the stress, and I know an expert is taking care of it from A to Z and just needs me to pop in here and there, it's just, I feel like all work should be like this these days, most of it anyway. It's a wonderful experience. I've experienced it through many different industry verticals. I love that you do this, because for me, and it seems like a number of people are starting to speak in the same way, that reduction in stress, which increases the quality of your life, is what it's really all about at the end of the day. Not about saving every dollar, pinching every penny. If I have all this money at the end of my life, but the end of my life is 60 because I've stressed myself to the point of the end, seems kind of pointless. And I think more of us know that this day and age. My parents were boomers, are boomers. They're still around, but their parents' generation before them, so just 2 generations removed from me, they would retire, and then a lot of their lives ended because of what they had to do to go through work to save all that joy for 65. They died at 67, 66. Yeah. That was half of my family. So my parents have adapted a little bit, but I really got to see that life is to be enjoyed now. And reduction in stress equals increased quality of life. I love that you do that.
Can I add something?
Absolutely, please.
I know a ton about stress. I learned a lot in my 20s because there is negative stress. And believe it or not, there's positive stress. Positive stress has the exact same effect on your body as negative stress. So let's talk about a milestone. Having a baby, buying a new house, going on that honeymoon, getting married. I have clients come to me, and it's not only that they want personalized custom itineraries or custom whatever. They're excited. And the stress level that they may get just over, hey, can you hire me a photographer in Egypt? We want to have this picture. Can you do this? Let's add this. And they're so out of their mind excited, which is very exciting. Sometimes they have to come down and say, whoo, this has really taken a lot out of me. And so taking away a positive stress as well as a negative stress is life-saving. And people need to realize there's no difference between the two. We have to work it out and make sure everybody stays healthy in the process.
Yeah. I love it. It's true. It really is true. Let's talk about another thing that comes to mind for me is traveling is just exploring the world, right? Like I often refer to all of our lives as, if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, we all have our own Lord of the Rings journey, right? We all start off somewhere. We have a problem. We go on this journey of exploration, develop new relationships, new skills, hit some challenges, get over some challenges. But really, that's how I kind of look at life in general. And travel and exploration of the globe and cultures, ethnicities, and different relationships, I think is one of the most enriching parts of being a human, especially history, to see what the people did before us, how they interacted, some of the monuments they built, their technology, the way they spoke. So traveling the world is, top of the priority list for me. And something that is can be a barrier for some people is the cost. And it's not a barrier to others, but either way, there is a cost to it. So can we just talk about what are people expecting to spend? Like, do you do $2,000 trips? Do you do $200,000 trips? To give us an idea, when I hear private jets, I'm thinking that's up there, a little bit out of my snack bracket for now.
That could be totally commercial. That could be going on a business opportunity where you've won a case or won a trip. I find money aside. Let's get the list down. And then realistically, let's go over the list. There's a show on TV and Jillian Harris runs it, and it's all about redoing a home. And they'll have a budget, but they might come across a little snag in something. So let's bring that over to travel. Okay, so the flight I had for you, they're going to go on strike, or they're threatening to go on strike. We may have to avert that onto another flight. There could be additional cost. But in the end, the whole why and where, how. And like you, I love geography and history. I love to know who talked this earth before me. I like to know where they went. I like to know how they did things, how they lived, what their cultures were. And so dependent on when someone comes to me and says, this is what I really want to do. I want to go to Africa and I want to follow the wildebeest migration. Okay, let's do it. Where do you want to go for that? Because it does go through several countries. And see, that's where I can offer them some advice and say, what is the most special thing about it for you? Would you like to have an air balloon ride to go with that so that you can see it from the air just as they come through? And then you have that other visual of something else to commemorate that trip. I say it's like anything. What kind of travel expectations would someone have? Do they want someone to lay their head and rest, like a quality hotel, or do they want that experience? I don't do Airbnbs, but maybe they want an experience to go to this on a safari and sleep in a tent. What kind of tent? I can get you a safari where you carry your own backpack, you carry your sleeping bag and pillow, or would you like that tent to be a luxury tent where there's beds set up waiting for you?
Yes.
How is the experience looking for you? Did you watch Tarzan when you were little? He didn't live like that in a luxury tent. So peel back the onion. Let's talk about things. So we create that web, must-haves, maybe would be nice. Let's put it all together. What does that look like? Okay, you got to peel the budget back a little bit. Let's go back to those onion layers. What is it in there that we can make still a fantastic experience for you, but just maybe in a little tweaked way? So You know what? It's all what you want, where you want to go. And it doesn't have to be, for people that are, I guess, wealthy. It doesn't have to be for people who are anything. I have a granddaughter currently who touched ground in New Zealand last week. She's 25. Mm-hmm. She is a physiotherapist and she just got a degree from a university, and she's there doing some tours right now. And then next week, she starts doing some exchange work. And she's there to work for 6 months. And she's there to see the country and do everything in between. So she's developed a plan for herself. 6 months of travel, seeing New Zealand. She's from the West Coast in British Columbia. This is fantastic for her. It's within her budget. It's doable. She's still making income. You know, everything's going fantastic for her. She's safe. She's with a group of people. My daughter just happened to have people that were there in her industry that have overseen her and made sure she got from the airport to the hotel. So it's all about connections. It's all about vetted travel suppliers. It's all about getting where you want to go and have that experience you want to have.
Yeah. 25, I went to Australia, not for 6 months, but for 6 weeks. Did not work, did nothing but have fun. And it was fantastic. It's interesting that you say Africa, though. That is the top of my bucket list. I don't want to spend the rest of the podcast talking about my thing, but I would love to chat with you afterwards, because I think when I first started thinking about it, the income wasn't there. We're talking 10 years ago when I started thinking about this. I think it's been there for probably a little while, and I just push off because there's always something that comes ahead of it because it's not planned. So I would love to have a conversation with you, because one of them, when we're talking about must-haves, not maybes, I want to get in the shark tank or the shark cage with the whites. That has to happen before I die. And ideally young, because, I don't want to be heart attack prone at like 70 doing that. I feel like in my 30s would be a good time. But I need to see those whites up front as well as all the other big animals. But moving on a little bit.
I got just the place for that.
You do? I figured when you started talking about Africa, I looked at those glamping trips.
Yes.
I did backpacking in Australia. It was fantastic. Then we stayed at a few hostels, a few nice hotels. But as much as I would be okay with doing that on the safari, the people that I would be going with or bringing with me, they saw those glamping tents and thought, this is the trip of a lifetime.
Yes.
And I don't want anything but. So
I met Jane Goodall face-to-face last year and had a conversation with her. I was lucky to meet her.
Yeah.
And I grew up with her. And for me, it's all about the experience. I have clients of all ranges. Some want hotels, the Marriotts, the everythings in Africa. Me, myself, personally, I also have a women's travel club that I started organically. And we are actually organizing our trip to Africa for 2026. And to me, you need to be boots on the ground. How you do that and what that looks like, whether it's a luxury tent or something else, we just don't want to haul sleeping bags and pillows around.
Yeah.
You can do what you got to do. You do however your budget is and whatever you want, because in the end, you will not remember anything but the ooh and the ah of getting your big five. You will not remember so many things, but the things that do matter is what's going to propel that dream forward into a memory.
That's a really good point, because when I've traveled a fair bit, but I think about my camping trips. I think about those in particular because I love them. I usually go with Pops, and there were some hard days. I mean, we are about as rugged as you can be. We bring our own dried food. We catch fish sometimes, but we're sleeping on the ground on tents. Those tents have been flooded a number of times. We've had very, very cold nights sometimes. And when I think about them, especially after you just said that, when I think back to those trips, I think about the stillness on the water, first thing in the morning, the beautiful sunlight, even the rays of sun on your skin, the camaraderie between me and the other guys, how amazing a peanut butter sandwich is after you've worked that hard. I rarely remember those pain in the butt moments, like mosquitoes biting me and all that. It's never deterred me from going back. Every time I go, I want to go, like we do it every year. And you're really bang on with that. When people are planning their trips, they may think about the room and the this and the other thing. And it's like, it's kind of semantics. That's not what you're going to remember from it. So those things may blow you out of budget and stop you from going on the trip when that's not what you're going to remember anyways. You're probably not going to come home from Africa and brag about the hotel room. You're going to be like, I saw a lion pride. The hotel room means nothing to me after that. So I think that's a really good point coming from a seasoned traveler and an expert in the industry. to not get caught in those little things. I feel like those are creature comforts that make your experience a little bit better. I needed to get a new pillow for camping. That did make it a little bit better. But that's not what you remember. But moving on to the education piece, a big part of these shows is not just to let's teach people about their local businesses here in Simcoe community. Let's get to know each other a little bit more, but let's actually provide some really good information here that can help increase the quality of somebody's life. So we talk about myths and misconceptions. They're in pretty much every industry, every facet of life. If I think something is true, I'm going to make decisions on that belief. And if that belief is inaccurate or suboptimal, I'm going to be making suboptimal decisions. So what myths, misconceptions can you tell us about the travel industry? I mean, I already have a few in my head, but I imagine you have that many more that you can clarify for the audience.
Let's see where to start. All right. How about this? Travel agents aren't necessary anymore in the digital age. Why can't I just do it myself?
Right.
You can. So I do offer a service for my clients that like to do their own travels, where we meet up on a Zoom call and they send me all of their travel ahead of time, and I can vet it for them and guide them through and see if they're on the right track or what they might require. I also allow booking on my travel, my website engine, where they can book their own hotels and things like that. So there is a generation that likes to do that. They want it speedy, quick, and all the rest. But I say, here's the biggest thing is travel advisors like myself. We're not just in business to sell travel. It's not about transactions. What we're in business for is for a lot of things. We have a ton of education. Every January, I have to recertify so many of my things with travel suppliers. We have exclusive rates. We have perks we can offer. We have insider knowledge, but the vast amount of training that we have, for one, I travel a ton, and it is at my expense. I don't get freebies per se. That's not what it's about. But I feel as a travel advisor, I need to be boots on the ground. I need to know to better serve my clients. What is it like in Cambodia? I was there last year in Vietnam. Like, what is it like to go to these places? How is it? How can I serve my clients better? When an opportunity comes my way, I'll go. So do travel advisors all have that experience? No. They use Google, whatever. But I think you could possibly overrule a travel advisor, but you're missing a lot there. And the hardest part is people will say to me, I'm planning a trip. Can I pick your brain? Well, we could have a chat, but this is my livelihood, So that's why I've offered the do-it-yourselfer package where people can come to me. Another one is travel agents cost more. And this is the person usually booking an all-inclusive resort. They're going online. Woohoo, I'm getting a sale. And they booked the wrong room. They booked the wrong kind of flight. They wanted the afternoon. They got the morning, whatever. There's a lot of lessons there. But when you call in or when you use a booking engine online, the person at the other end managing your travels gets a commission. Why would you not come to a local travel advisor and support a small business? It's the same thing, only I write to the hotel in advance and tell them your little wish list. You're having a honeymoon. I would like a sign on the door. I would like to send a welcome card for them to the concierge that I create on Canva and make sure it's in the room when they get there. Hey, you got here. There's some flowers waiting, a bottle of wine, whatever. I like to make it extra special. There's a lot of things you won't get on a 1-800 number that travel advisors can get. Same as better to book the airlines or hotels directly. Well, let me tell you, I have a lot of people that call me and ask for help. 2020 was the year I called travel triage. Help, I booked this online and I don't have access to the file, but here I can help you by just offering this information. You can book flights and hotels online, obviously, but in the background, I track everything for you. I make sure to let the hotel know you're coming. I make sure to to verify and vet, this is the room we booked, make sure it's available for them. The other thing is, how often do people purchase a flight that may have a connection because it's just a little less costly and they've got time? But while they're in the air, the connection's changed or been canceled. I have been known to track all of my clients while they're in the air. I follow them on FlightAware. I am not ashamed of that. I actually tell them, I'll be tracking you. I do it for cruises. I do it for flights, because if I see a connection coming that's got a problem, I'll solve it before they land. You can't get that when you're booking online. So there's service components in it. We leverage them. We make sure it's seamless. And that's exactly what they need. When they land, okay, I've already got a note to them, because I also have a system where I check and I have information come to me live feed. The flight is changed. The gate has changed. I'm on WhatsApp. I can quickly connect my clients and say, hey, your flight has changed. Your gate has changed. Here's your new gate. Don't worry. This is your new gate. Hey, your flight time has changed. You've got an extra 2 hours. Go and enjoy having a meal somewhere. I'll even tell them, if you're on Wi-Fi, please use your map. And everybody goes, why do I want to use my maps for? Because it'll show you at the airport, and you field out, enlarge that map, and it'll show you everywhere where there's food, stores, where the gates are. Find your way around. Maybe you'd like a lounge for a little bit. Maybe you'd like a shower. You're, international. So those are things also that I feel we can handle. We can bundle packages, make it a little more affordable, but we're there when something goes wrong. And pretty much a lot of people say, oh, maybe travel advisors are out of date now. Far from it. Like I said, we have advanced tools, global networks. We have all these certifications we have to keep up with, and we curate trips that websites and algorithms can't even fathom. And it's all about caring for your clients. I want to know if something goes wrong with my clients. I don't go, bye-bye, see you later, have a good day, and then welcome them home. Oh, no. Hey, how's it going? I see you've just arrived in such and such. Is there anything else you need? Are you okay? Just follow them along the way. Make it very personalized and do your best.
It's music's my ears, especially for someone like me. And I'm not even kidding. Travel, I don't like it. My brain goes like, when are they going to make a teleportation device? Like, give me the Star Trek thing already. I want to step in it and be there. Everything between the process. Sometimes it gets confusing. It's a stressful experience often. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. Sometimes things go wrong. Yeah. And for you to be there through that process, I just love that. And I will definitely be talking to you about Africa for sure. If you'll have that call, I would love to have it.
I'd love to share that with you. One other thing is, I just feel like a lot of people since 2020 have not learned yet. We have air passenger rights here in Canada. And after X amount of hours waiting in an airport being delayed, you're entitled to meal vouchers. You're entitled to an overnight stay at a hotel. Most people don't understand the world of travel now and how much it's changed. You won't find a lot of this stuff elsewhere. What if you need a visa for a country? It was always about vaccines. Did you need a vaccine here? So we just help navigate as simply as possible.
Yeah, which is huge. The simply as possible part is huge to me. Especially when you're going to like a one-time thing. If I go to Africa, when I go to Africa, I will probably not go back. There, I may go, but Australia is a one and done thing. And I did have a travel agent for that, and she was great. I was super young, so didn't even know what questions to ask, but I very thankful I did not do that without her. But I'm probably not going back for a 30-hour flight again. I did it. I've done it. It's amazing. We did it well. But it was a one-time thing, and I'm glad it went well. And it would probably be the same thing with Africa. It's not something that I can get multiple tries at because it would likely be a few weeks. So do it right the first time. Save yourself the headache and the stress. I've seen too many people why are they going on vacation in the first place? Typically to tap out of life for a moment, to relax, to have no responsibility. It's supposed to be like walking into a spa. You go there to relax, to de-stress, to set your nervous system right again, to just be playful for a while. Mm-hmm. And yet often it can be so stressful because you're like, if I need to de-stress, I go on vacation. So that's what I've been told to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this happen. And you find out the whole thing is often very stressful. I find the same things with weddings. It's supposed to be the most beautiful day of this couple's life, and it's been stressful for an entire year. My sister is a perfect example. That was a very stressful year, and it was a beautiful wedding. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. I haven't had a wedding myself before and don't want it to be that way. It seems like we get so caught up in this is what I was told to do for these reasons since I was a kid. This is what everybody else does. So I'm going to do it too, and not even take stock at how uncomfortable and stressful this situation has been. And it defeats the purpose of the whole reason of going in the first place. To me, a wedding should be beautiful and stressless and simple. Everything should be magical. Same thing with going away. Should be the same thing. I love that you do that. But let's talk about you a little bit. I think you have lived a life that many would envy from what I know, and many have not experienced. So first off, let's just do some rapid fire little game here. Give me 5 things that put a smile on your face.
Oh my gosh. Waking up to a new day. Every day is a gift.
I like it.
Always seeing my family, making sure I talk to them all the time, and my grandchildren. Those are the biggest things in my life. I am a sucker for any sunrise, and wherever I am in the world, I salute the sunrise and the sunset, because it's been a great day to fill yourself with much gratitude happens in a day that you don't even realize. So my things are very simple. And something else that makes me happy, well, let's see, reading.
Yeah, I can tell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to please. Walking outside and barefoot in the grass, seeing a friend, hearing from a friend. It's all about connection for me. Very much about connection for me. That's my whole thing.
I'm surprised you didn't say travel on there. I mean, connection, travel's a part of connection. All of what you said is a bit of connection.
People and travel go together. People, gratitude, sunrises, sunsets, everything is also in travel. It is part of my life. When I travel, it's still there. It's just different. I'm just in a different hemisphere. I'm just somewhere else. And those are still the things, that make me happy.
Yeah. And I mean, really, at the root of it, I guess it depends on how you define travel. Travel could be 5 minutes down the road to go see a family. You're technically still traveling. I don't think we all define it that way, but still, at the end of the day, we're just moving through one experience to the next with the people we love most. I mean, I think that's what living a fulfilling life really is. I've done travel on my own. I spend a good chunk of my time on my own because I feel like I need that, really connect. But all of that is to get better at being me and enjoy life more so that I can go do it with other people. Life without people seems meaningless to me. I do want to pepper you with 2 things. Can you give us the favorite place you've traveled, if you have one, or a couple, and then favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, boy.
Or something that comes to mind of something you really enjoyed.
Okay, so let's see. Favorite place I've traveled. Every time I travel, there's something new, and I have to come home and process it, and then it becomes even more favorite. So I had the opportunity to take a group to French Polynesia in May. It was my second time there, and it is nothing like Hawaii. It is the most beautiful area for culture of the people are so beautiful, and I don't know. It sets you back into a wonderful world that's unspoiled. So every time I go there, I realized it calls me back. And as corny as that sounds, why? Because of connection, because of beautiful people, culture, because I bring people with me I can share it with. So French Polynesia is definitely one. And I would say Jordan. I loved walking the 2 miles into Petra. And
oh my God.
Yes, seeing the temple.
Man.
And talk about being in the moment. You're on a mission to go find the temple. But on the other hand, you're walking through these incredible alleyways and walkways through mountains. And it's hot, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And you realize to yourself that geography and history comes alive. I'm walking on the spice route where they used to come through here as the spice trade. And you get to the temple, and it's just like overload sensory, like Da, 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 da. It's like Indiana Jones. But then there's camels over here, and there's Bedouins having tea over here, inviting you to tea. And you're standing there thinking, how many other people walk through here?
Yeah.
What is the history of this place? And you get overwhelmed. It's just like, I got to sit down and process what I'm looking at. And you can take all the pictures you want of places like that. It has nothing to do with what you're experiencing at that time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'd say those are high on my list, but yeah.
Petra. Oh my God. Don't know much about French Polynesia, but Petra, God.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Very high. I just came back from Switzerland, another great place. Always wanted to go there. It was fantastic. Lots of trains, lots of mountains, lots of cool people again, lots of history.
Do you spend much time at home, Renee? I'm getting the feeling you do.
Okay, so when you have your own business, and my office is at home, I found there's no boundaries for my work. Sure. So it's all about balance. That's key. I bring a laptop in my office in my bag whenever I go away. I'm still working. Mm-hmm. So I don't always unwind per se, because I travel for a living. I often travel for my work, and I might be learning about a new country, as I just did in Switzerland with a learning journey that I was invited on. You're there, you're theirs, you're with every tourist board, every railway, every hotelier, you're doing inspections of hotels, you're working, but you're also learning about things, and I love to learn. Mm-hmm. So I'm home. I'm probably gone once a month for a week at a time. Sometimes I get to stay home. July, August, September. It was wonderful. I'm home now until January, when I escort my ladies travel club off on a Southern Caribbean cruise. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I try to take intentional time to regroup. And I have a 92-year-old mother that I am very grateful that she's still here. And I did have her living with me for 7 months a year ago. And now she's in BC at my brother's. So I have to make sure that I keep in touch and go see her. But yeah, I do stay home. And my guest room is always full. So my grandchildren and children know when I'm home. And I'll have up to 6 grandkids at a time. Hey, can we come over? Yep. And I'll drop whatever I have to do and work whenever I have to work to make sure that my family is first.
Yeah, sounds like a great life. Can you give us a book or two? Are you fiction, nonfiction?
I am nonfiction, although I have read fiction. I like books that are about life principles and organizing. I like mentorship books. Lately, I just read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Love the power of tiny changes. My motto to my children has always been, okay, let's bring this whole thing down into baby steps. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's all about tiny changes, baby steps, and the 4 laws of behavior. And what you boomerang out into the world is what you get back. So I love motivation like that, and inspiration. Gosh, there's always 6 or 7 books at my bedside, always. And I always try to make them good. I love the book Happier by Gretchen Rubin. Mm-hmm. And I listen to her podcast because, again, simple pleasures, simple things. Yep. I'm a big people person. And to me, people matter more than things. And so I put all my energy into many things that have to do with people.
Many shared values there. I love it. Atomic Habits is right behind me. Pretty much everything behind me is being a more effective human and learning how to be more effective with other humans in some way or another. I love it. I was pegging you for fiction. Not many people read. More people read nonfiction now than I believe before. But I think people still love getting lost in that story.
Of course, it's a way to go. The book, I call them book on tape, but they're not called that anymore at the library. You can take that wherever you go on your earbuds, listen to those on planes, podcasts. But I used to read all kinds of geeky things. Like I always wanted to stay ahead of my kids technology wise. Their friends would come over. I'd say, open your Facebook. I want to make sure you're safe behind the scenes and get your security up. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I was always ahead of them. So geeky stages came through, parenting, and lots of kids grew up in my house that came to stay and never left. My house was the hangout house, and I just like to manage that and make sure everybody feels welcome. So, yeah.
Hell of a mama bear. I love it, Renee. I'm loving it more and more as the conversation goes on. Let's talk about doing hard things. Since you read nonfiction, since you read Atomic Habits and all the books that you do read, they talk about hard things all the time. I have it tattooed on my arm. I have my rules for life on there. And number 4 is do hard things for very specific reasons. I think human beings, for the most part, are designed for energy conservation and don't want to expend unnecessary energy doing uncomfortable things. Status quo seems to be where we want to be most of the time. And I think growth really comes from stepping out of that and learning something new and being okay with sucking at it at the beginning. If I want to learn a new language, that's a new skill. I'm probably going to develop better parts of my brain, develop my brain a little bit better, but it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to suck at learning that new language at the beginning. But also, then there's experiences in life that were failures that we voluntarily chose to go into. I chose to open this business and it failed. That sucks. Or hardships that were put upon us without our choice, like the political landscape or like COVID, for example. So the point of all of it is I think hard is one kind of umbrella statement for all of these things. I choose to move into hard. Hard was put on top of me. It resulted in a positive. It resulted in something difficult. Either way, I don't think we talk about it as much. And we want to be a part of that on this podcast, is getting people not just to celebrate the beautiful parts of life, but understanding the beauty in the hard. That there would be no light without darkness. There would be no gratitude for these positive things if we didn't know what it felt like to deal with pain a little bit. And I also would love to be a part of the message that pain isn't so objective, isn't so pain equals negative. I think pain is very subjective, and there are many pains in my life that are very positive. For example, the gym. I go there specifically to reach a certain level of pain because I know when I've done that, I've grown, I've done my job, and then I walk away with this beautiful high, and it's a great experience. Hard conversations with family members, employees, and friends. They're very uncomfortable, and some pain comes along with that. But I know it's important to have that conversation rather than sweep it under the rug. So we love to ask the guests on the show, as they're all entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is very difficult. I have not met an entrepreneur that said this was a breeze. So it's a very difficult way of living, and we've all had hardships. So we love to ask the guests to come on the show. Are there any trials, tribulations, hardships that you've been through that probably sucked in the moment? Really, I mean, hard has a symptom. It doesn't feel so good. But when you look back and in hindsight, you wouldn't remove that ingredient from the recipe that has now become you, because it was integral for you to live your life as you do today.
Wow. Okay, I feel there were 2 events in my life. One sounds kind of superficial a little bit. I remember in high school noticing all the divisions, the cliques, the little exclusive groups, and the mean girls. And I got to the point where I thought, I'm never going to participate in this. Everybody in every group is going to be my friend because everybody deserves kindness and respect. And that has flown through my life in every way possible. Fast forward right now, into how I work my business, when I travel with groups, how the groups are, everybody's respected, kind, never left out. And I work really, really hard that everybody is treated very, very well. The second thing, which also morphed unexpectedly, is I was married young. I had lots of kids, and I expected that one day when all the hard things we went through growing a family were done, and my husband and I would travel a lot. What I didn't expect, that health became fragile for him. And the reason why I started my women's travel club was because he couldn't travel with his job, and then he couldn't travel with his health. And so I began the Women's Travel Club as a way for myself to propel forward to travel a lot more. But in behind the scenes, what a lot of people know or don't know is that in 1999, my husband was quite ill, and nobody could diagnose what was wrong with him. So it took quite a few months to realize something wasn't right. And we lived in BC at the time, in Vancouver. And the doctor in Vancouver went around the world with my husband's x-rays. And somebody in India diagnosed my husband to have a very rare lung disease. So we had a lot of lessons in strength and patience, because we knew that the family would soon become caretakers in a way, knowing his condition could and would get worse over time. That made me a very strong person. I already was a mother who sometimes was a single mom, because my husband was in the transportation industry, of course, and was away a lot. And so that was no big deal. I just did what I had to do. I took all my kids away and hey, count heads, 1, 2, 3, okay, let's go. But I learned through that, when there were some really downturn times, every day was the gift. Like I mentioned before, I would kind of lean over and think, okay, he's breathing. Okay, good. We're going to get on our feet. Today's a great day. And I value the fragility of life, because through hospital halls, I met people and I heard stories, and everyone had a big heart. Everybody knew that they had to deal with hard things, and how we all dealt with hard things was different. But I could be there, and I could be a blogger, and I could have Facebook groups, and I could find other people all around the world with the same rare condition, and I could get everybody together and we could help each other. And we moved to Ontario with my husband's work, and little did we know that he'd end up with Toronto General Hospital. And those hallways and those lung hallways and the stories of resilience have made me such a better person. And I will always stop and listen to someone. I will always stop and help someone. And it's really shaped me, because if I see somebody with an oxygen tank, if I see somebody struggling with a walker, I always stop and just say hello. It's just inbred now. And my family has gone through a lot. I'm sure that myself and some of my kids have been through a lot of PTSD. So we help each other and monitor each other to always make sure we're okay. I feel like I'm okay, but sometimes I look at them and sometimes I wonder, because when my husband was diagnosed, he was told that he probably wouldn't live more than 5 years without a double lung transplant. My husband, 25 years later, is still alive, and he did have a transplant 7 years ago. It was the roller coaster ride of our life to get the phone call, something he never thought he'd have. Our mission was to help other people any way we could, no matter what that looked like, because he probably wouldn't be able to, that he would probably not survive. He did survive, and he's traveling with me today. So that is all the good in every situation. And you learn to balance life and figure out, you're just regrouping, and it took a turn. Well, it took a hell of a turn, but it took a turn, and it took a turn so wide that wide berth we took, we're okay. We're good. And that one day I thought I could travel with my husband. It just took a long time, but it's here. So I have brought him all over the world with me. We have ushered groups, and he was in French Polynesia with me. And he sat in the water and just looked out into the big wide ocean in that turquoisey 90 shades of blue with his big hat I made him wear. And he just went, I'm processing, because he never thought he'd get there. So it's taken a lot, but you really grow, baby steps, and everything's going to be okay, even if it's not going to be okay, because we believe that every day is a gift, and we only have so many days. We all have only so many days. So take the days you have and make them very, very good, and don't let negativity and toxicity enter your life, because it's not welcome. That's my story.
What a beautiful story that is. Geez, I told you that some people get emotional on the show beforehand. I didn't expect it was going to be me today, although that time off.
Okay, I kept it together.
You did. I barely did, though.
I
But
don't
you know what
always
you
keep
said?
it together. It's hard still. Life is still hard. You never know what the future is. But darn it anyway, we're on the road this week to go see grandkids, and we are doing the things that we can do. And everybody says, oh, COVID must have been hard for you. Oh, no. We knew this already. My kids' friends, when they came over and had a cold, wore a mask. We were already cutting edge ahead. See, you find a solution to every problem. So I work that in my business. I have clients who aren't well. I make sure they get where they're going. I have elderly seniors who travel. I will drive them to the airport. They're my favorite clients. I will do what I have to do. I will have roses waiting for them because I know their favorite rose are red, and they're trying to have travel at the end of their life just because. And to me, that's just my heart and soul is in my business the way it would be in my daily living. So, okay, I'm going to end there.
Beautiful story. So many things resonated with me with that story. First off, your level of transparency and openness, I think, is to be commended. But you said my perspective on the fragility of life developed a higher level of gratitude. It wasn't verbatim, but that's pretty much what you said. And it's interesting when you have a brush with death, or death has become a greater realization for you for whatever reason. It really does rewire your perspective, or at least I shouldn't say that. It gives you the opportunity to rewire your perspective, to really take advantage of the time you have and understand that we were all stamped with an end date and we don't know when it's coming. Those rules of life, the first two for me are the amount of minutes in a day. So that's the most important thing for me, is when I wake up in the morning, at best, that's what I've been guaranteed. I mean, even that, not even getting through the full day is a guarantee. But I think to myself, at least I've been given today. Tomorrow is heavily out of my control. And then the next one is remember you will die. There is a wonderful part of my one of my favorite philosophies, Stoic philosophy, when a general came back from war after a victory, they would have a steward of some sort, a person walking beside them as they were congratulated and cheered and everybody loved them, speaking to that general saying, remember you will die, remember you will die, remember you will die. So that they bring down the ego. They realize that they're not immortal and that they won today, but there's still tomorrow. Humbles them, and it makes them more grateful for their efforts. And I think that was happening 2,000, 2,500 years ago. How did we lose this understanding that we won't live forever, and to not waste your time? So appreciate you sharing that story with us. I think a lot of us have been through our own version of that. You said life is still hard. I'm at the point in my life thinking that I resisted hard for so long, and then I embraced it and saw what it did for my life. And now I'm thankful life isn't easy. If we got what we wanted every day, all day, I think we'd be pretty bored.
And there's just different degrees of hard.
Sure.
There's things that'll come in your life and you go, I've got this, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Like you just do what you have to do. And you may die one day, but for now you have life. And for now you have today. And we never know the day or the hour, but we have today. So live it well. Live a life well lived.
There it is. That's the line. There's too many things that relate between you and I. It's literally how I sign the end of my books. Have a life well lived. It's also right on my arm at the bottom. Very, very cool. Renee, you're a special human being with a very wonderful story, very enriching story. Last couple things for you before we wrap up. If there's one thing that you could say directly to your audience, the picture that I paint for people is you're on stage, 500, 1,000, 1,500, whatever. Pick your number, sitting in the stage, complete silence. You have 60 seconds to tell them what you want to tell them about Red Orchid travel and experiencing your services. What do you tell them?
First of all, welcome if they come by me. And I would tell them that my heart and soul is into every client that I have that comes. I don't take on every client. I actually want to work with clients who have the same vision as me for true partnerships, because that allows me to go deeper in understanding their preferences, their needs, and especially their dreams, which we can help weave together into those lifetime experiences. I also want to tell them that I love working with people on these journeys, because in 25, 30 years, whatever amount of years it is, I got to be part of making that happen. And it is such a privilege for me and an honor and something I feel very humbled about, but I just love to make things happen for people. And that is pretty much what I do, whether it's my Red Orchid Travel or my Red Orchid Women's Travel Club. Same with the tours that we do and the escorted groups. Everybody's beautiful and wonderful and deserves kindness and respect. And I push that forward real hard.
I love it. A woman who understands her meaning for life and mission. It's a very beautiful thing. How can people find out about you, Renee? What's the best way to get in touch?
I have a website, Red Orchid Travel. I'm on Instagram, Red Orchid Travel, and YouTube, Red Orchid Travel. Facebook, I just sort of humbly opened a Red Orchid Travel. I really don't have anything in there yet, but I do have my women's club on Facebook. It is the Red Orchid Women's Travel Tours. And of course, email and phone. Renee at redorchidtravel.com. It's really easy.
And your phone number is on your website, I'm assuming.
It is. Everything's there.
You have been a pleasure to speak to. This has been, 4 months in the making. When I first spoke to you at one of our events, we started talking about travel, which was very interesting to me. What I didn't know is that you were so insightful and such a deep thinker and read the way you do and look at life the way you do. I think it's the way to live personally. It's the way I like to do things. And I've been very lucky to come across some great mentors to lead me on that path to really make the most of life while you're here, have the most beautiful relationships you can with yourself and others, and really look at life as a thing that you're here for a short time, like a game we're playing, play it to the best that you can. And it's not a burden, but it's to be enjoyed. All facets of it, all parts of it, the up, the down, the sideways, the roller coasters. And you took us along that journey today with you, and I really appreciate you doing that. You've been a pleasure to speak to, Renee. Thank you.
Thank you. You as well. It's great.
Until we talk about Africa, which we will.
Talk about Africa.
I've said it publicly.
Okay. Do you know who Johnny Weissmuller is?
No.
Oh, come on. Okay. You got to Google that.
Okay. I will.
He was the original Tarzan.
I got to check out Tarzan. But now that I've said it publicly, that'll be the push I need. Public accountability is powerful. I'm sure somebody will say it at the next event. Hey, you book Africa? Yeah, you book Africa. But I will be talking to you about that at some point soon. Until then, you enjoy the rest of your day. And if I don't see you at the next event at the end of this month, you have a very happy holiday.
Same with you.
Thanks so much,
Renee.
Renee.
For having me on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.